سيدنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه بارك وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I just confirm that you can all hear me, inshallah?
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله
وعليكم
وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
Okay,
الله.
alhamdulillah. So let's all begin the dua together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. Alhamdulillah. I hope you're all well, inshallah ta'ala. We will start off with going over your assignment, and shukran to all of you who have submitted your assignment so far, and for those who haven't, hopefully it's still coming, inshallah. So if you can open your assignment from last week, assignment number 2, and we will just go quickly through some of the answers and discuss it, inshallah. Okay, so let me just share my screen and then we can start, inshallah. Okay, so in this assignment we started Ayatul Kursi, and just also a note, in the last assignment, assignment number 1, we actually skipped a verse by mistake. So in the Surah Baqarah assignment, we skipped one verse in the assignment, so just be aware of that. But we carry on with this part, inshallah. So it begins with Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Let me just add this other windows quickly. Okay, so the first question was, and it's not verse 225, it's to verse 255. The first question was, what are the labels for the underlined words? So we begin, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-qayyum. So what are the labels for those ones? Huwa al-hayyul qayyum.
I think I will begin. مولانا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah.
Is that both as sifas, مولانا?
Okay, so let's start with the huwa. What would the huwa be?
The huwa is damir munfasil.
Okay. A damir munfasil, yes, but what do you think it would be in terms of like fa'il, maf'ul bihi,
I think
and
it's a
so on?
mubtada. Is it
Okay,
the mubtada?
I'm just looking now. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. I don't think technically it's a mubtada, but for now we'll say it's a mubtada. Okay, it's fine. Huwa.
Doesn't it refer? Doesn't I know what Maulana is saying, but isn't huwa referring to Allah?
Yes, the huwa is referring to Allah. The huwa is actually part of the illa before it, but let's just leave out the let's just leave out the first half of the sentence and just make as if huwa al-hayyul qayyum is a new sentence. So
Okay,
the huwa will
okay.
refer to Allah. How would Prophet Muhammad Amin translate huwa al-hayyu?
Huwa al-Hayyu, I would say He is the ever living.
Okay, so when something is something, what type of construction is that? When something is something.
Something is mudaf ilayh.
No, but Muhammad Amin already gave me the right answer first. You said the huwa was a mubtada.
Yeah, then it's a khabar.
It must be mubtada and khabar.
Then it's yeah, it's fi'lun is ismiya.
A jumla ismiya.
Mubtada jumla ismiya. That is the word I want to
Yes.
Jumlatul ismiya,
Okay.
yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So the huwa can be like, okay, so I just want to clarify, I didn't actually think through this example properly. The huwa is actually linked to the illa before it, so it makes the grammar more complicated. But for this exercise, we're going to treat huwa al-hayyu al-qayyum as a new sentence, just to make it easier. So
Yeah,
huwa
okay,
will be mubtada and al-hayyu will be khabar. What about al-qayyum?
Al-Qayyum.
Is al-qayyum giving you more information about huwa, or is it describing al-hayyu?
It's more more information of huwa.
Okay, so then what would it be?
Then it's a sifa. No, it is huwa al-hayyul qayyum.
Or you've asked me differently.
Yeah, that is then it's also a khabar then.
Good, perfect. So it's also a khabar.
Khabar.
Good. Perfect. Okay, so the way we would answer this, and again, we're not looking at the la ilaha illa first, we're just leaving it out now, and we take huwa al-hayyul qayyum as a new sentence. We will say the huwa is the mubtada, al-hayyu is the khabar number 1, and al-qayyum is khabar number 2.
Yes.
So in other words, it will mean huwa al-hayyu, huwa al-qayyum. He is the one that is ever living. He is the one that is the sustainer, the self-sustaining.
Yes, Maulana.
Okay, perfect. Shukran so much.
Afwan. Salam.
Brother Ishad, salam alaikum.
Assalamualaikum, Maulana. Hope Maulana is okay. Hope everyone in class is okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Maulana, just a quick question. I labeled this as a mawsuf sifa. I figured that there was two describing the huwa, and then I was speaking to Brother Tawfiq earlier on about it. He had mentioned that the Allahu at the beginning is what the huwa referred to. Could you also think of it as a mawsuf sifa?
You see, if it's a when you say it's a sifa for which mawsuf?
The huwa.
No. So basically, if you translate huwa al-hayyu, how do you translate it as a mawsuf sifa?
Oh, I see. It's not describing you because you have to translate it as he is the ever living.
Yes. Otherwise, it would be the ever living him, which wouldn't be a mawsuf sifa. And the easy rule, a very easy rule, is that when you have a damir, huwa, ana, antum, nahnu, a damir, that most times in the Quran is going to be mubtada.
Okay, so even if it's halfway through the sentence.
So in this case, there's a technical discussion around the illa, but I'm saying if you were looking at the huwa al-hayyul qayyum on its own, it will be a mubtada and a khabar. Remember when you say halfway through the sentence, you mean halfway through the ayah.
Okay.
And within an ayah, you can have 3, 4, 5 sentences. Okay. But just to say that for technical reasons, we will do the grammar differently if we had to do the whole thing from Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, but we haven't covered those concepts yet, so I'm not going to do that. So we're just looking at huwa al-hayyul qayyum, and if you look at that alone, that's fine for now as an example.
Okay.
But the fix
what does the word illa translate to? Is it just except?
Except, yeah.
That's why we were thinking mawsuf sifa, but I thought Allah is the mawsuf, because I think you can have separating words between the mawsuf and sifa, and then I just figured because it's both agrees in chain, Allah and al-hayyul and al-qayyum. So I said Allah is the mawsuf.
Yes.
And then
Allah
I
is the
said, is the Mawsuf. And then I said, Al-Khayyu is a Sifa, and Al-Qayyum is also a Sifa. Because if you look at the translation, it doesn't look like you all translate that as He is the ever-living, the self-sustaining. It looks like the Him is referring to the except part.
okay. I think let's just do this 1 second. Let me just pull up this quickly. Quran. It's a bit difficult it's difficult. You can actually look up the grammar. You can look up the grammar of any verse in this at this website at this app here. So I don't know if you used it before. It's called QuranHive.com, and you enter the verse, and you can go to learn, and we can go to Arab grammar. So this will give you. It's difficult in your first year to read this. So no.
Because the words in brackets, the actual Quran.
What do you say?
The words in brackets are the...
Yes. No. Okay. So basically, on this one, I'm sorry. Where are we now? Let's go back to where we were. Okay. So you were saying the you were saying that you translate Allah as
Mawsuf.
the Mawsuf and Al-Hayyu as the
Sifa.
as Sifa. So you translate as the ever living Allah.
Yeah. Yes, Maulana.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to. It is the khabar. I'm trying to explain to you why Allah la ilaha illa huwa, because basically the idea is that we're not describing Allah, we're giving news about Allah. So technically, if I do it from a proper way, is that Allah is the focus of the sentence, right? And then how many things are we saying about Allah?
3 things.
3 things. We're saying La ilaha illa huwa. There is no God except Him. We're saying Al Hayyu. We're saying Al Qayyum. So we're saying in this sentence we're actually saying 3 things about Allah. We're saying Allah La ilaha illa huwa Al Hayyu Al Qayyum. So the proper grammar of this is that the word Allah is actually the mubtada. The word Allah is the mubtada. This La ilaha illa huwa, this whole thing here is actually takes the place of one khabar. Because this thing is giving you news about Allah. And then this thing is giving you news about Allah, that's another khabar. And it's giving you more news about Allah, it's another khabar. So in the structure of the sentence, this part of the sentence isn't describing Allah, it's all providing you news about Allah.
That makes a bit more sense, Mona, because that word doesn't look like it's linked to Al-Qayyum. That was my problem, I think.
Yes, I was saying when I was saying the first thing is that technically this huwa is not the mubtada, and the hayyu is not the mubtada, the khabar of this mubtada, but if it's to be a sentence on its own, it would be like that. You with me? Huwa al-hayyu al-qayyum, then mubtada khabar. But if you take the whole thing, then the Allah would be the mubtada, la ilaha illa huwa, this whole part here would be one khabar, al-hayyu another khabar, and al-qayyum a third khabar. Does that make sense to you?
That makes
that's actually the correct answer. Okay, but we haven't done different types of khabar yet, so it's difficult to see how la ilaha illa huwa is the khabar. Okay, so let me just reverse all the way back. If you labeled al-hayyu khabar, that's correct. If you labeled al-qayyum khabar, that's correct. The huwa is not technically the mubtada, but if you did it as the mubtada for now, that is fine as well. So I think maybe that example was not the right example to include, but I hope that clears up, inshallah. Bismillah. Verse number 255b. So let's start later, inshallah. Sister Yusra, Bismillah.
Assalamualaikum
Can I ask a question or do you want to answer?
No.
Go ahead, inshallah. Bismillah.
Am I supposed to answer the questions for verse 255b or the labels?
Okay, so Bismillah, let's go. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. What type of verb is underlined?
الفعل المضارع.
Good, it's a fi'lul mudari. So it is a present tense verb. The past tense is akhadha and the present tense is ya'khudhu. So where is the fa'il of that fi'l mudari?
It's the ta مولانا.
Which ta?
The تأخذ. The
Okay,
ta in
okay.
تأخذ.
So do you remember what we use as a tool to identify where the fa'il is? We use 3 letters. Do you remember them?
Yes, the encasing, the up front on the left and inside.
Inside. So basically, if you're looking for the fa'il, we can't look at the beginning of the word, of the verb. We can only look at the end of the verb. So if I had to do the scale with you, the first one would be ya'khudhu. The next one would be ya'khudhuna. So if that would be ya'khudhuna, I would have found the una there, and that would have been the fa'il. Are you still with me?
Yes,
And then
مولانا.
if I go to ta'khudhu, is there anything at the end that is the fa'il there?
The who.
So how do you translate ta'khudhuhu? Akhadha means to take. So ta'khudhuhu would mean what?
You, one male, will take or takes. Him. So
Okay.
the fa'il is the who.
Okay. But would that make sense to you? Because who's taking who in the sentence? In terms of meaning.
Neither drowsiness overtakes Allah.
Okay, okay. So what is not overtaking Allah?
Drowsiness.
So which word in the sentence is drowsiness?
Sinatu.
Sinna. Good. So the word sinna is actually the thing that is not overtaking Allah. Are you with me? The word sinna, that thing is not overtaking Allah. What hal is sinna in?
Raf'un.
Raf'un. So what actually is happening in the sentence is that the word ta'khudu doesn't have the fa'il at the end. So if you go back to your scale, I don't have it now, but back to the scale, normally at the mudari scale, if I say ya'khudu, what's at the end there? What's added to the end there? There's nothing added to the end. If I say ya'khuduna, what's at the end there?
Una.
Una. If I say ta'khudu, nothing. If I say ya'khudna,
The na is at the end.
the na. If I say ta'khuduna, una again. Ta'khudina, ina. Ta'khudna, ana. Na'khudu, nothing. A'khudu, nothing. So in other words, that who there is not actually the fa'il. So if the fa'il is not at the end, where do we look next?
To the left.
The left. What are we looking for? We're looking for the fa'il. Which hal will be in?
Raf'un.
Raf'un. So what is the first word we find in Raf'un?
Sinatun.
Sinatu. So actually the fa'il here for this verb is actually sina. So let's go through the meaning quickly. La does not, ta'khudhu does not take. Who is not taking? Who's the fa'il?
Drowsiness is not overtaking.
Does not overtaking. Not overtaking who?
Allah.
And where do you find the word Allah here? This word who?
Him.
Yes, yes. So this him here at the end is actually maf'ulun bihi. So لا تأخذه سنة is actually saying لا, that just means not. تأخذ is the verb. Who's doing the verb? Sina is doing the verb. Who is the verb being done to? Him, Allah. So is not overtaking him. Who's not overtaking him? Sina. Sina is not overtaking him, Allah. Are you with me?
Yes, Maulana.
So that's actually the way it is. It's a difficult one because normally when you think of fa'il, we think of people. Like a fa'il must be him or must be you or must be. But the other fa'il is actually drowsiness. Because drowsiness is the thing that is not overtaking him. If that makes sense. Okay, shukran so much. Okay, so in that sentence there, لا تأخذه, and I think many of you would have struggled a bit with that one there because you naturally think of a fa'il as a person or a being. But the fa'il can be a pencil, can be a door, can be anything. So in this sentence here, the word ta'khudu is the verb and the word sina is the fa'il. So Yusra, if you're still there, I can ask you one more question. Is sina a male or a female word? Is it masculine or feminine?
I'm not sure. I'm a feminine, I think, because there's a ta marbuta at the end.
Good, it's feminine because the ta marbuta. So that ta'khudu there, why is it different? What's the difference between ya'khudu and ta'khudu?
تأخذ is تأخذ is she.
Good. So ta'khudu in Arabic can be she is not taking, or it can mean you are not taking. Yes. So in this case here, the ta'khudu there is actually a she. And who is the she? The she is Sina. You with me? Because Sina is the fa'il, the verb is a feminine verb. Because the fa'il Sina is feminine, therefore the verb is not ya'khudu, the verb is ta'khudu, because the verb is feminine. Because the fa'il is feminine. If that makes sense.
Yes, Maulana. Shukran.
Okay, Afwan, shukran so much. Any other questions on this one?
Maulana, yes.
Yes.
That ta'khudu, does la have an effect on the labels of ta'khudu, la ta'khudu? Who?
So la doesn't have an effect on the labels now.
It doesn't.
La just makes the verb negative. This la here, obviously there's two laws. There's the law of don't and the law of not.
Yes, this is
So
the negation.
The law of negation, not. So there's no effect on the label. All it does, it just makes the verb negative. So if I say yaftahu, he is opening. If I say yaftahu, he is opening. Yaftahu is still a present tense verb. The huwa is inside is still the fa'il. If I say la yaftahu, he is not opening. It just makes the verb negative.
Okay, shukran.
But it doesn't affect fa'il, maf'ul bi, any of those things.
Okay, shukran.
Okay, good. Any other questions on this one? It's a tricky one, this. We all good with this one. And also, I think part of the grammar analysis when you're doing it is then make sure that the meaning makes sense. Make sure that the meaning makes sense. Sister Hasina, bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana. You know what confused me is I said who. So immediately I say who. Okay, so that must be it. As you say, you have to take the meaning into account. That confused me because
just a tip for you. If you're looking for the verb at the end, it must sound like the scale that you did before. So yaf'alu, yaf'aluna will be una.
Okay.
Taf'alu, yaf'alna must be a na. You with me? It must be one of those on the body scale to be the fa'il.
So it's not an attached pronoun. I thought it's an attached pronoun. You know what I'm saying?
The attached pronoun is always the maf'ulun bih. That who, whom, he, hunna,
Okay.
kunna, ina. That's always the maf'ulun bihi. So here again, this is actually the maf'ulun bihi because it's attached pronoun to the verb.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, good. So I mean, just to clear up for everybody is that when you are looking for the fa'il at the end of a verb, it will be on the same pattern that you learned the scale. So it must be yaf'aluna una, yaf'alna na, taf'aluna una, taf'alina, ina, taf'alna, nah. Those are the only ones actually that you'll find that are the attached pronouns. So in other words, the attached pronoun on a present tense verb is only una, na, and ina. That's the only attached pronoun you get on a present tense verb. Because if I go to the scale, yaf'alu, nothing. Yaf'aluna, there's a una. Taf'alu, nothing at the end. Yaf'alna, there's a na at the end. So far only una and na. We carry on. Taf'alu, nothing. Taf'aluna, again una. Taf'alina, ina. Taf'alna, na. Af'alu, nothing at the end. Naf'alu, nothing at the end. So the only three attached pronouns at the end for a present tense verb is una, ina, and na. When I said that's all the fa'ils there are. The other list of attached pronouns that will always be maf'ulun bihi. La ta'khudhuhu sinatu wa la nawm. Any other questions on this one? Okay, hopefully all good. Next one. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Go down here. There's some more questions here. Is this a law of prohibition or negation? That la ta'khuduhu sinatu wa la nawm.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana.
Assalamu
Maulana, I think it is a law of negation. And the reason for that is if you look at the form of the verb, the la doesn't affect the end of it. Because normally with the law of prohibition, it would have been la ta'khud, but in this case it's la ta'khuduhu. La ta'khudu. So based on that, I can confirm that it is a law of negation.
Good, perfect. So it's a law of negation. It's a nafi, harfu nafi. Nafi means negation. It's a law of negation, as our brother said there, is that if it had to be of prohibition, don't, it will affect the end of the verb. It will be la ta'khud, do not take. But la ta'khudu means he is not taking. So, perfect. Again, yeah, we're doing the exercise as almost like a revision for you to bring all the parts of the last few months together. So if you're struggling, it's fine. It's just you must do your homework and struggle through it because it brings all the parts together. Next one. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. What are the grammar labels? That's easy one. What are the grammar labels? For fis samawati and fil ard.
Assalamualaikum
Example.
They're both harful jar ismul majrur.
Okay, I see you chose easy one today.
Yeah, Maulana, got to play smart sometimes.
في حرف جر and السماوات اسم مجرور في حرف جر and الأرض اسم مجرور. So generally you should find that حرف جر اسم مجرور is becoming quicker for you. In other words, you're starting to see it quicker. It almost becomes like very, like second nature. You don't have to think about it anymore. It becomes easy. Next one. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. So verse 255, see, what is the difference between ma and man? Ma in the previous verse and man.
Assalamualaikum, Maulana. I have man with as in what, more denoting a question. And then ma, also what, but more denoting or referring to something.
Okay, so if I ask you this, what's the difference between me saying man hadha and me saying ma hadha?
One is you asking what is this? And the other one, you're cheating me, Maulana. My initial answer, my initial answer, yeah, it sidetracked me now. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm confused now.
Okay, we asked Dilsha to give an answer.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana. I think I've got it as ma is referring to an object. So what is it? Whereas man you refers to a person or an animate thing.
Okay, perfect. So basically, first of all, there's lots of ma's. Ma can be not ma many things, but ma refers to a thing, like a non-human, inanimate thing, and man refers to a person. So if Allah says lahu ma fis samawati wal ard, how would that be different to saying lahu man fis samawati wa ma fil ard? How do you translate man? If it would be lahu man fis samawati wa man fil ard.
Whoever is on.
Okay, good. If that to be lahu man, it will be to him Allah belongs, whoever. And if that to be lahu ma, it would be whatever. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. However, in terms of Arabic, sometimes ma can include man as well. So when we say lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard, we don't only mean to Allah belongs all the inanimate things in the heavens and the earth. We believe we understand to be both. Lahu ma wa man fis samawati wa ma wa man fil ardi. Obviously, in terms of Arabic, it's not very eloquent to say that. So, in other words, the ma there actually includes things and people within the ma, but technically speaking, ma generally refers to inanimate things, and man refers to animate human beings or people or animate things basically. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, so ma is things and man is people. So if I have a phone, for example, I can't ask you man hada because this is not a person. I have to say ma hada. What is this? But if I had a person, like a photo of a person or something, and I could show the photo of the person, I can say man hada, then I mean who is this in the photo? Hasina, bismillah.
Sorry, Maulana. I forgot to do the labels. So I'm doing the labels now. So I know the fi al-fujar and what in arde you said is maf'ulun bihi ismul majrur.
After harf jar always comes what?
Maf'ulun.
Do you remember? Harf jar always comes ismul
majrur.
Ismul majrur. After harful jar, always ismul majrur. It's like always together. So as soon as you see harful jar, ismul majrur.
Yeah. Okay. I was just checking because I didn't hear the answer. Because I forgot the assignment.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that was a question between ma and man. Ma is what and man is who. So in Arabic, if you want to insult someone, you can refer to them as a what. So like if you had in Arabic, if you had to say to a human being and saying ma hada, it's actually an insult because you're not saying who is this, you're saying what is this, as if it's not a person. No, if that makes sense. Next one. Man dha alladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'idhnih. Sister Basima, are you going to go?
Yes, I'm going to go. Shukran.
Bismillah.
I've got bi'idhni. B is harful jar, and then idhni B ismu majrur. And then idhnihi is also mudaf and mudafun ilay.
Okay, perfect. So in other words, how many words do you see in bi'idhnihi? There are 3 words. So that's the main thing, is that in bi'idhnihi, there are 3 words. As you said, bi harful jar, idhn ism majrur, and the he at the end is mudafun ilay to idhn, which is also mudaf. And again, just a reminder that if there's a dhamir attached to an ism, idhn is an ism, then it's always mudafun ilay. Perfect. What type of word is alladhi?
Assalamu alaikum. It's ismul mawsool.
Ismul mawsool. Perfect. And then finally, you had a translation challenge, which I won't ask you to do now, but hopefully you are able to translate this. I mean, this is Ayatul Kursi, we read this every day. And Prophet ﷺ said about Ayatul Kursi is that whoever reads it in the I'm trying to remember, was that Ayatul Kursi? I can't remember. Okay, let me just check the hadith again before I quote the hadith. But anyway, it's virtuous to read this after every salah.
I know, Maulana. You read it after every salah, Jannah becomes wajib for you.
Yes, I can't remember the hadith. I think the hadith is that there's nothing between him and Jannah except for death, but I need to check the hadith exactly how it goes. But yes, it's very virtuous to read this after every salah, and it's more beautiful if we obviously understand what it means as well. If you understand what it means, it's all about Allah Ta'ala, and we read here 4 statements about Allah. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Allah, in other words, actually, this is actually a jumla. If I look at Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, that's actually a jumla, a sentence in there. Allah is the mubtada there, lafzul jalala. La ilaha illa huwa, khabar 1, al-hayyu, khabar 2, al-qayyum, khabar number 3. So that first thing is actually a whole jumla. That Allah, there is no God except Him. He is the one who is the sustainer. La ta'khudhuhu sinatu wa la nawm. This is a jumla. Whenever you see a verb here, it's going to be a jumlatul fi'liya. Whenever you see mubtada khabar, jumlatul ismiya. Jumlatul ismiya, jumlatul fi'liya. Does not overtake him. Sinatun, drowsiness, tiredness, wala nawm, and no does sleep overtake him. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fi al-ard. There's no verb here. This is jumlatul ismiya. To him and him alone belongs whatever and whoever is in the heavens and in the earth. And man, new sentence. Man dhal ladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'idhnih. Who is the one that is going to intercede with him illa bi'idhnihi, except by his permission. In other words, the day of Qiyamah, no one can intercede except by the permission of Allah Ta'ala. But Tawfiq, Bismillah.
Maulana, in 255C, the lahu, that is just to him, so that belongs, was that just inserted for meaning?
Yeah, it's technically we haven't done it yet, but the ma there is actually the mubtada and the lahu is in place of the khabar. So, is your question about why the lahu is there?
No, just the translation. Because lahu ma is that to him whatever is him.
Yeah, so
and then the
lahu
belongs is just inserted for us.
Yeah, so the la in Arabic is often the lam of ownership. Like I say, alhamdu lillah. That lam there is considered to be the lam of ownership. So to answer your question, the belongs is within the la. The word, the meaning of belongs it comes from the word la, but there's no separate word for the word belongs.
Okay, shukran.
Okay, so if that makes sense. So it's basically it's included in the word la. That's the lam of ownership. Okay, so inshallah we will stop there. You have been emailed your assignment number 2. What I did with the other class, second year Dawra year, is that they had a session where they came together in the week and they went to the answers on their own. So in other words, whoever wanted to join came, they had a class, I think it was Wednesday evening or something, and whoever wanted to log on to the Zoom, they logged on and they discussed the answers amongst themselves. I'm not sure if you would like to have the same facility. It's obviously completely optional, that whoever wants to, you as a group, you could come together and you can discuss the next assignment and discuss some questions. I don't know how many of you, can you give me a thumbs up if you would be interested in that? If you're looking for the thumbs up, you must go to the more and you find the thumbs up. So we'll be interested in a session where you as students meet virtually on Zoom and discuss some of the answers.
Wednesday might be Maulud, not Malana. Maybe people might be busy.
Yes, I mean we can look at the scheduling again. I'm saying the principle. So maybe like Tuesday evening or something, after maybe between Maghrib or Isha for 45 minutes. Just give me a hands up or give me a yes in the chat if you're interested. So I know that it must be a viable number of people. If you can't find them, okay, if you can't find them more, you can just... Okay, there's a few people. So what I think we do, we'll try it out this week, inshallah. We will basically, we'll make a group. We'll make one of you the admin. Remember, there's no teacher there. There's no tutor there. It's just for you as a group to discuss your answers. And I think it helps also just to discipline everybody in terms of setting aside time to actually think about the work. Otherwise, it gets done on Saturday night or Sunday morning or something. So I think we will try it, inshallah. So I think let's try and schedule it for Tuesday evening, inshallah. That would be better, inshallah. Okay. Let's go on to Surah Al-Fatiha.